Alright guys, so in this video, we are going to be taking a look at the Canon 1DX Mark III. Now, I received a couple of messages on Instagram regarding the camera. People want to see around the camera, the buttons and the layout, so that's all we're doing right now because there is a lot of stuff going on with this camera. Now, this is my first 1DX marked whatever camera, so I actually had to look up a lot of things about this camera. A lot of good things actually. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at this camera, the buttons and the layouts. We're gonna start on the back because there's a lot of stuff that's going on right here. If you've been a Canon user, you're gonna notice that the button layouts are pretty similar to some of the older cameras. I also have a Canon 6D Mark II, and some of this layout is really, the button placements are pretty similar. So let's go ahead and start with the top left right here. You're gonna get your menu button and your info button. What I'm gonna do is actually turn this camera on so I can press those stuff. The unlock button and off button is down here, so let's switch that to on. Let's go ahead and that's okay. We go to the menu button, like I said, that's the button right here in the top left corner. And then the info is when you get, your scopes, not your scopes, but your histogram, your leveler, and your audio meter right here, which is pretty sweet. Now moving on to the right, you're gonna find your start and stop button, similar to the Canon 60 series. You have a video mode and photo mode that you can switch left and right. And then we can do that. The autofocus on button right here is actually the button that I use because it's closer to your thumb. I don't like half pressing the shutter button. I use this for autofocus, which that's what it's for right there. All right, so the one on the right is your AE lock button right here. And then on the right of that are just some focusing points. You can choose your autofocus points. And the back of the screen is touchscreen. So if you see me kind of fiddling around, it's because I'm not used to that touchscreen. So that is your AF selection button. If you look in the eyepiece here, you'll be able to select your autofocus point. Moving down, you're gonna have your toggle here, which let me go ahead and do that. It's not gonna work for that one. So let's go bring up the menu and you'll see your toggle using your joystick right here. Pretty sweet. Right below that is your Q or quick access menu. I use this a lot because it is pretty amazing. If you wanna bring something up real quick, you can change your auto balance, your color profiles, your auto lighting optimizer, which I have off all the time. So that's your quick button. Back here is your joystick wheel, and you have your set button in the middle of that. Pretty standard for a Canon camera. All right, moving down right here below the Canon logo right here is your land light. You have playback menu. You have your, go back to the shooting mode. You have your zoom. You can zoom in up to 10 times, which is pretty sweet. You have your trash can for deleting. Right here is a lock button, but it also works as a voice memo button. And then right here is a microphone, which you can use the voice memo for. Let me know in the comments below if you want to learn more about that voice memo option. But yeah, that's pretty neat in my opinion. Over here on the right of that, we already saw that that's the on, lock, and off button. And then to the right of that is another joystick, but this is for the vertical mode. You're gonna notice right off the bat that this camera has a built-in vertical grip, which is pretty sick in my opinion. To the right of that is just your AF on button for the vertical grip. If I go like this, you're gonna see that it's pretty much the same exact layout. You have your AF on button, AE lock, then the focus point selector once again, similar to if you have it the other way around. Looking at the bottom left here, this is your card or image selector. If you have two cards in there, you can use this button to switch. At the very bottom is just a little screen for you that you can see your folder and your file numbers, and I have my Bluetooth on so you can actually see the Bluetooth icon. Moving on to the right, this is actually really neat. I think it's a good thing and a bad thing. This is your card ejector or your card switch. So if I go ahead and switch this over, you're gonna see that the card will pop out. You have a two CF Express slots right there, 1 and 2. That's pretty amazing. Go ahead and close this out. Now I said it's gonna be a good thing and a bad thing because this thing right here, it's pretty plasticky. I mean, you gotta be very careful when you're using this right here because you're probably gonna break that really easily. The bottom right is just a little speaker for you. So back there, that's pretty nice that they put that all the way down there, so it's not really in your way or anything, it's just down there. The next thing that I almost forgot to show you guys is the eyepiece. If you remove the eyepiece, you're gonna find the, oh shoot, I just jacked it up. Anyways, I'm just gonna have to redo it later. But this is your LCD viewfinder's adjustment, if it's blurry or not blurry. If you want it sharper, you can mess around with this. Now, usually in a regular Canon camera, that's not hidden, but for some reason in the Canon 1DX Mark III, I was like, where is it? Oh my God, it's so blurry. But I had to remove it and then found the adjuster on the back of that. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the left side of the camera. On top here, you're gonna see your mode button. You have a mode button right here. This one right here is your drive autofocus button, which you can change your drive to continuous or single. Then right here, this button is the exposure compensation button. And right here is your sensor location right here. If you use rulers or tape measures to measure your focus, then that's definitely helpful for you. All right, looking at the side of the camera, let's go ahead and look at the terminals and inputs this camera has. Right here is your Ethernet cable, Ethernet input right there. Right here is a system extension terminal, is what they call it. You also have HDMI and USB-C on top of the HDMI. So that's what you're looking at. That is an HDMI out. That is not a full HDMI, so just keep that in mind. On the left of that are your microphone jack and headphone jack. Has that, pretty sweet. And the bottom of that is your remote cable input. All right, and then on the bottom right is your actual PC terminal input right there. Okay, now looking at the very bottom, you're actually gonna see your battery compartment, which I'm gonna go ahead and turn the camera off so we don't break it. Okay, let's see if you can still see that. All right, so to remove the battery, it's pretty easy. You just twist it and there is your ginormous battery. All right, so this is the battery for the Canon 1DX Mark III, which is freaking huge. Honestly, this thing is awesome. So yeah, let's go ahead and put it back. Let's go ahead and take a look on the opposite side of that, which really doesn't have that much thing going on. It has an on and off button right here for the vertical grip, and that's pretty much it on the right side. Now, let's go ahead and look at the top right, because I don't think we looked at that yet. Okay, so right here is your light button, which is very helpful when it's nighttime. You have your white balance, you have your exposure comp right here, ISO, you have your jog wheel, and you have your function right here, this tiny little button, and of course you have your shutter on the right of that. Now the camera does light up at night. Some of the buttons do have a backlight, which is really sweet. Because as you all know, you've been there at night, you have to get your cell phone to shine some light on your camera. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the front of the camera. You got a couple of buttons here that's kind of worth mentioning. The first button is your depth of field preview button, and then this one right below it is a multifunction button number 2 that you can customize. This little circle thing right here is your self timer lamp, whatever light you want to call that. And then these two are the same exact thing as these, but for the vertical grip itself. This switch right here releases your lens, so I'll have to show you that. That should be pretty standard. All right, guys, so what I'm showing you now is just my 6D Mark II compared to the 1DX Mark III as far as size goes. And you can really see the difference because it does have that built-in battery grip at the bottom. Like I said earlier, pretty much the menu, the info, the start and stop, the AF on, majority of the button layout is pretty similar, and that's why it didn't really take me that long to kind of know where everything is, and I kind of like that about Canon. All right, guys, so that's pretty much all I have for you guys right now, just to kind of give you guys an overview of the camera itself. If you have any questions, let me know, and I will see you guys later.